we're gonna be watching Urat again, playing Mundo with the new Rageborn Mundo skin. He's gonna be playing the jungle, as Mundo usually is played. Not really a great top lane at this point, but we're just gonna watch how he goes to the jungle. Mundo starting Cloth Armor, Boots 3-pot. That's a pretty good start. Also, Cloth Armor 5-pot is reasonable because Mundo does damage to himself. He gets pretty low, and the regen is pretty helpful. Smite Exhaust, pretty standard on Mundo. Mundo doesn't have any CC early other than his Cleaver, but the Exhaust allows him to get pretty strong ganks off because he does so much damage with his Masochism and his Bergen Agony that the CC allows him to lock people down and do all that damage. Basically, the blue team right now is trying to steal the red, which Shyvana is usually starting at, and Mundo is able to pick up a good first blood, and then with the help of his team, he's able to steal the red. Excuse me. One thing to note is that it may have been best not to use Burning Agony there because it only adds a small amount of damage compared to what the whole team was doing, while costing a fair amount of health. Now, Mundo looks like he's trying to gank at level 1, but he notices he really doesn't have any damage, he really doesn't have any CC, so it's best just to back up, get the level 2, get the level 3, maybe 4 for the Cleaver, and then get the ganks off. Cleaver at 2 is reasonable, Masochism at 2 is also reasonable, depending on whether you want to gank or not. You might not need the red here. Not a huge reason to pick up the second red, and it does a lot of damage to you, as you can see. And now basically, actually you're giving it to your friend Corky. That's an interesting play. But you got very low, and it's kind of costing you a lot of time on the red buff you did have. So, especially given that you use Smite, you're pretty much neutered in the jungle right now. Given that the out of health pots, you're sitting at half health. You probably can't kill blue buff without taking a ton of damage. I believe Burning Agony at 3 is probably the best thing to get. But I don't think Masochism is a bad choice. It gives you extra damage to kill the big wolf. Going back with 875, luckily the first blood gives you enough to get probably a heart of gold. Or dodge boots, I think probably a heart of gold right now, just given the amount you have. Kind of a strange buy. You got 2 wards, which is definitely okay, but perhaps not overly necessary. A heart of gold would definitely let you start just kind of snowballing your advantage, kind of building up very quickly with the gold per 5. Not in terms of snowballing and making you more powerful, because it's not especially efficient, but it allows you to use the gold you've gained now to help you be more powerful in the late game. To make sure that your early game advantage doesn't fall off as you move on through the game. Good gank right now. Maybe turn on the Agony quicker. Good to not use the Exhaust. He was getting away. There was nothing you could do. Now you're going for a lane gank. You don't have any hard CC, so lane ganking is going to be rather ineffective. Aurelia's down on a mana. In Mundo, like Shyvana, is a clear counter jungler. He wants to just run through the jungle, counter jungle the enemy, move around quickly and just clear the camps, make it so he can't be counter jungled by killing every camp very quickly. Good for you to give the buff to Zera. Unfortunately, you get very low doing that because she came and you started kind of without her. What's happening now is you're doing a lot of buffs and you are ganking and using a lot of health, and you're not able to just really run through the jungle and clear. You only have 20 CS at 7 minutes. That's really low for a great clearer like Mundo. You'll see that Shyvana has 38 CS, which is about where you should be. Even more because you killed her, and she was behind and you got the first blood, which should have allowed you to be, you know, more powerful. You don't want to fight her here. Basically, she's higher level than you, she's been farming better than you, and that's what allows her to just... She's actually level 6, she exhausts you and just kills you very quickly. That was just something that you needed to immediately exhaust and run away, because she was much more powerful than you at that point. Because you've been not really farming. You just have to understand what kind of jungle you are, and just take advantage of what Mundo offers in the jungle, which is that AoE, Burning Agony, great clear time, not really a lot of CC for ganks, but if you can catch maybe... your best lane to gank is of course top lane, because you have the slow on a low cooldown, which means you can use it a lot, and you can use it to just chase down a lot better. Whereas the mid lane is more about the hard CC and then the burst. And it's kind of hard for you to gank here unless Zera lands a good stun early, and then you're allowed to come in behind while the person's snared and just lay down your cleavers and your damage. But it's good that you're farming this lane. You really need to use the Masochism and the Agony to get the last hits. That's really going to make it worthwhile for you to be in the lane, rather than just you standing there soaking up some XP, which is good, but it's much better if you can get those gold, the gold for the last hits. Giving blue again, great. Going back through, at this point you probably want dodge boots. Dodge boots really helps Mundo take way less damage in the jungle. You get Merc Treads. I understand why, they have a lot of CC, but dodge boots is generally good, especially against a team with 3 ADs. They have Shyvana, a Renekton, and a Tristana. Dodge boots would be really great, allow you to take less damage in the jungle, and they cost a little less, and I think that's probably the right boot choice, at least early on. Late game, you know, you can get the Merc Treads, and with your Burning Agony, it will allow you to do some things, like just stay on the carry and not get killed. That's very good, but early game, it's really not probably the optimal choice. Good to pick up the dragon after you get a kill bottom. Always good to do that if you guys aren't too low. If you're not too low after getting kill bottom, ward up, and then just grab the dragon. Make sure your whole team comes, you get it very quickly, very safely, and it's a huge advantage. It's about 2 kills worth of gold. 2 kills if you get assists, 3 kills if there's no assists on the kills, but either way, it's very good. Unfortunately, Shyvana's in your jungle. Basically, as soon as you saw her, you should have activated your ult and run away. If she jumps at you, just exhaust, throw a cleaver, and keep running away. She's much stronger than you right now. She's level 10. She had the red buff she just stole. She's about 30 CS ahead of you because she's prioritizing the farming. You notice Shyvana hasn't been ganking very often. Shyvana's 3-2. 2 of those kills are just on you in the jungle because she's counter jungling, which is one of the main strengths of Shyvana. Now, you do a pretty aggressive counter jungle there. It works out because Zera's very strong. It was a good play that worked out for you, but note that it required Zera to be strong. So in situations when your mid isn't that strong and isn't following you as closely, you're going to need to not do counter jungling when their jungler can 1v1 you, which is the case with a Shyvana. And don't be afraid to, right here, use your ult just for regen. You have a low cooldown ult, it's not really overly strong, and it's great just to use it to get some regen down, and, move around the map a little quicker so you can clear some camps. She's probably getting away. It's probably just best if you guys just, take down the tower. Went down anyways, but there's no reason to waste time chasing the Tristana when you guys have no real CC after she jumps. I mean, you can cleaver her, maybe, but you're probably not going to get the kill, and you don't want to chase into a possibly dangerous situation when the chance of getting the kill is just really low. If you're going to gank, try to come around where Wraiths are. That allows you to get behind her a lot better. Running in from the side is almost never going to get you a kill. It's just, it's too easy for her to back away before you get anywhere near her. Taking a lot of damage right here. You do have the chain vest, but not having the dodge boots makes you a little bit squishy. You kind of just ran in, your team's behind you, but you get in a little further than you probably want to. You do get out, your ult's pretty powerful, and you have the CC reduction. But just be careful of doing plays like that, because you're really counting very heavily on your team following up exactly correctly, and that's not always going to be possible. Good to pick up another dragon. Since your whole team was there when they tried to stop you, you got kills. If the other team is dragoning with 5 people, and you only have 2, just let them get it. Dragon's worth maybe 2 or 3 kills, so giving them the extra 2 kills is basically giving them a second dragon. Not something you want to do. Your chance of a steal is pretty low when running into 5 people. And it's just the risk doesn't really the risk is a lot greater than the reward in this case. You're trying to figure out what item to build. Always try to have your buy in mind before you go back. You sold the chain vest for the Warmogs. That's the thing you don't want to do. Selling loses you a lot of gold. It's good to sell things if it's a case where you made a mistake on an item buy and you're able to admit that, and not go too deep through the item tree. But I feel in that case you just really wanted to finish the Warmog so you could farm it up, and it might have been the case that you should have just waited and just farmed a few more creeps, then went back and got it, and you could have had basically a chain vest, because selling the chain vest loses you almost a kill's worth of gold, which is pretty significant. And you just have to be cautious about selling these items, and just be cautious when you're buying these items. Make sure that it's an item you want. Make sure it's an item that you're gonna be able to build into something better later in the game. And you went back with about 2,500 gold when a Warmog's cost around 3,000. You weren't overly low. You weren't in any real danger. You don't have mana problems as a Mundo, so maybe in that case you go back to farming and just farm up the extra 500. It shouldn't take too long. And as Mundo, you always pretty much have full health, so you're not overly weak. Great in fights. Chase the low people out. Keep people out of the fights. Keep people from doing a ton of damage. Get on their squishies and just fight them, and the other team surrendered. So a couple things. Basically, what you want to do as Mundo is be the clearer, be the counter jungler. Don't try to be the ganker. Don't try to be tricky. If the other person gets ahead of you, be less of a counter jungler and more of a clearer. If you're ahead of them, be more of a counter jungler. Your first buy, you probably should have got just the heart of gold, which would have allowed you to just cleared constantly while ticking up extra gold, and that would have definitely helped you gain an advantage. You notice Shyvana had almost double your CS. That's that's really something you want to avoid. You got a couple wards, but I feel like you didn't really have a plan for the wards. If you don't know really where you need to put the wards, especially on your first buy, you probably don't need the 2 wards. Especially against Shyvana, who's not a big ganker, who's not going to be getting dragon before level 6, unless you get they get a couple kills bottom, and at that point the ward's not going to do anything, and support will be generally warding the dragon. So I think that was a little misitemization. I think getting the chain vest and then selling it was either a bad idea to buy the chain vest, or bad to go back when you didn't have enough gold. Those are just two different options you had, were to wait to buy, or to not buy the chain vest, or just to keep the chain vest and buy the Warmogs later. Warmogs is good when you stack it up, but missing a few stacks on the creep kills isn't the end of the world. You can stack it up a lot in team fights. You'll probably end up with it fully stacked anyways, so don't really hurt yourself on gold just to stack it up. Overall, good game. You won. You just need to really concentrate on the farming and the clearing, and understanding that that's the type of jungler Mundo is. I've watched the Shyvana game too, and I think I said that comment as well. And I'm going to watch, I think, a Nautilus game next, and we'll see if your ganking style is more suited to maybe that champion.